Because having sex with a prostitute is how you're going to learn respect for a woman. Hello, and welcome to the worst, most sexist episode of Star Trek that we have reviewed yet. Trekkie Tuesdays here, and we are reviewing
The Wolf in the Fold.
The Wolf in the Fold. The description of this episode on Netflix is Scotty is accused of murdering a belly dancer. That is the description. Which sounds promising, to be honest. I think, oh, well, this will be interesting. And maybe interesting is a good word, but oh my god. Like, what's so crazy is that the people who were in this and writing it could still be alive. Like, it's not that long ago. This is not some, silent movie or something. It's so bad. I don't even know where to start.
Scotty is on shore leave, and he thinks it's just regular shore leave, but it's actually therapeutic shore leave to get him laid because a woman caused an explosion in engineering, and they're worried that this is going to cause him to become misogynistic. So they take him to a planet where they can't actually say everybody is a prostitute. But
not everybody, every woman.
They go to a planet that had their free love revolution, the great advancement 200 years ago, and now jealousy is outlawed, and there are all sorts of establishments you can go to where the women, and then they never finish the sentence, but they say that sentence a bunch. They say that sentence maybe more often than McCoy says, "She's dead, Jim," which he says a lot, because there's a serial killer murdering the women. Also says he's dead, Jim, at one point too, when the serial killer temporarily abandons the body that he'd been possessing and forcing to murder the women.
So the alien is Jack the Ripper in this episode, which everyone seems to know, despite the fact that Jack the Ripper happened long time ago, and he was actually a sort of gaseous, forever alive, what's the word I'm looking for, immortal, creature that travels the world. Travels the galaxy, or the universe. And he feeds off of fear, and so obviously he kills women, because women are more easily terrified than men, or something like that, was the reasoning there.
That's how Spock puts it, yeah.
Logic, right there. And, so then the solution to that, for when this gaseous Jack the Ripper cloud invades the computers somehow, their solution is to drug everyone on the ship, which was seemingly odd, because that way they won't get scared. When we started reviewing Star Trek, it was because of episodes like this, to make sense of it all, to, understand where we are as a society, how have things progressed, and I don't know. I don't have any more words for this anymore. I don't have any big answers. I guess something that strikes me is, we still know what they mean when they don't have to say that the women are all prostitutes. I don't know, actually, if they're prostitutes or if they're just, easy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're supposed to read it. But anyway.
The woman the belly dancer who talks to Scotty, she doesn't seem actually attracted to him. I don't know if this is the actor's choice or the writer's choice, but she seems like she talks to him because she's been called over to talk to him. She registers that he's hitting on her, and then she says, "You seem like," and then she tries to scan him to figure out what gender he is. Attractive gentleman. I'll go on a walk with you. She seems like a pro to me. in that moment. She seems on duty in some way.
Well, maybe she is. I don't know. I want to be like, we're so far from this, it was so long ago. But, like, this was, like, 1969 or... No, it was less than that. It was 68 or something like that. And that's not that long ago at all. And it's really scary. And, like, we still get it. Like, we still know why this... Like, it's still... No... Like, I could show this to, like, a small child, and they would go, oh, yes, well, women get more scared easily. Good point, Spock. And, like, we know, oh, yes, those women are having sex. That's what this plot is, even though they can't say sex or prostitution or whatever. And, oh, my God. What is this episode? I don't even have any special critique. I'm too tired, and it doesn't make any sense. And I don't get it. Why did this episode exist? What is the moral here?
I don't think this is an episode with a moral. I think this is an episode with I think this is a mystery episode. We're talking about thrillers versus mysteries. This is a mystery.
A whodunit mystery.
Yeah, with the sci-fi twist. And I think they liked the idea of a murder in an idyllic culture. That's something that I think Star Trek and sci-fi comes back to in general. Also, Jack the Ripper turns out to be an immortal alien is a really weirdly common trope in science fiction, I guess, because he was never found, and so it's like an unexplained mystery to solve. But just for such a, like, pathetic, crazy person who, killed a few people and sent letters to the newspaper saying it was because he didn't like prostitutes.
Well, and the thing is, like, okay, so this is even addressed in the episode. Like, they're like, let's list all of the unsolved murders of women
Ever.
In recorded history, and they list like 3. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, prostitutes get murdered all the time, and it's really fucked up, and, like, nobody bothers solving those. Like, maybe you can make the argument that in the future they, like, somehow go through all the old case files and using magic computers and mind melds or whatever, they, like, figure out most of them. But then again, they were able to figure out this one with a computer and a little magic, so I feel like they could have figured it out then, too.
This is one frickin' smart computer, by the way. They really should just let the computer, like, do all of the space
just not do anything.
By itself.
The computer, like, can tell if you're lying. The computer can, like, do everything. Like, it's so much better than everybody else, so let's just forget Kirk. Let's just have the computer in charge. But what?
Like, it makes you feel dirty to even articulate. So this is an episode where women are commodified. Like, I have some problems with, like, objectified, but the women are commodities. They don't have any agency. They don't make any choices. Their death is portrayed entirely in terms of the effects it will have on the men around them. It's sad that the women die because there are now men who are angry that the women died, and sad that the women died, and that there's that there's a man who may be executed via slow torture, because that's how the hippies roll, for killing the women. So they're reduced first to sex objects, and then they're stuffed into the refrigerator, which is a term that came from comic book criticism.
Okay, we have to come up with, like, a plot premise. Oh, wouldn't it be great if Scotty, like, okay, so what if we did an episode on Jack the Ripper? That'd be cool. So how are they gonna meet all these prostitutes? Well, maybe we need someone who's gonna be seen as guilty, but we all know he's not really guilty. And who's that? Oh, well, that would be Scotty. Okay, great. So Scotty will look like he killed a prostitute, but why would he be with prostitutes? Scotty's too good. How can we come up with a plot that would make sense for Scotty to be with a prostitute? And they said, oh, well, we'll just blame a woman for it. They were worried about his psychological well-being after a woman messed up in engineering. And really, that just reads as like, women can't work because if they mess up once, they're going to give men a complex about it. What? And then they will have to cure that complex through sex. Question mark. What? What? Why? You just had like a head contusion and you're gonna have sex with a prostitute in some alien planet. Whatever. To me, this is like meaningful because it's like for all the people who are like, oh my god, we don't need feminism, sexism doesn't exist. I want people to watch this episode because to me, I'm just like, this is like, how can you watch this and not think this shit is really sexist? I don't have any hatred towards all of Star Trek or anything, but like, we have to realize that Star Trek was not banned from all of existence. People did not go out in outrage and say, Star Trek is terrible after this episode. They continued to watch, and there are probably a lot of people who, this is their favorite episode or something. And, they have no qualms with saying, that's their favorite episode, I bet. And, there's nothing wrong. Nobody has qualms about saying they love the original Star Trek series, right? And, that's okay, too. I'm not, we're watching all of it, so, we're guilty as well. But, we have to understand that this, isn't that long ago and is still, I think very much present in our current storylines and, where we are. I want everyone to watch this that has any hesitancy about the need for feminism.
Mostly given up on trying to figure out whether the characters are supposed to be humans or aliens in this episode. It actually doesn't, there's no consistent explanation. It doesn't make sense for them to be aliens, because then how do they know about Jack the Ripper? And of course, how do they look completely human and speak English and stuff? But it also really doesn't make sense for them to be humans, because they clearly come from a culture that had their free love revolution 200 years ago and is the only spaceport in the quadrant and is not part of the Federation, and have people who are psychic. So they don't even know. The writers did not make a decision as to whether these people were humans or aliens. It did not occur to them that was a question. The women were women, though. Women.
Women are always women, even in space.
Yeah.
As we've learned in a previous episode.
Yeah.
Great, we're gonna go cry now.
But tune in next week when you get to see a cute small child review the cutest episode in Star Trek.
It's true. It does get better. We will get past this. I don't know. Next episode's pretty good. You should watch that. Maybe if it is already next week and you just felt kind of sad while watching this, you should watch the newer one, because that'll make you happier or something. It's like the writers knew. They were like, okay, this one's pretty bad, so next time we're just going to give them a stuffed animal episode. And that's exactly what they did.